Hello Year 9. This presentation is going to function as a brief introduction to English and how it works at GCSE level. English at GCSE is actually split into two different subjects. That's English literature, which focuses mostly on reading texts, and English language, which is more about a combination of both reading and writing skills. Interestingly, they are each worth a GCSE, so between both literature and language you will end up with 2 GCSEs, and therefore I think it's worth considering English to be a very important and very worthwhile endeavour as you move forward. Of course, they are both core subjects, and therefore you need to do them. You don't have an option, and therefore the information I'm going to talk about moving forward I think will be useful to everyone in the year group. I'll start off by talking to you about English language, and as I said in the previous slide, the focus of English language is actually assessing a range of skills across the subject, namely reading and writing. For the most part, all of your assessments in English language will actually be skill-based and won't require a huge amount of revision, but they will require you to have worked hard throughout the course to have honed your skill and ability in the subject. The exam is split into two papers, which are both completed at the end of the course. This is paper 1, which focuses on reading fiction, specifically a bit of unseen Victorian fiction, which is combined with imaginative writing, the kind of storytelling and story writing that a lot of you will be familiar with and that you will like. And paper 2 focuses on reading and comparing a pair of non-fiction texts, combined with you actually writing a piece of what we might consider to be real-world writing, or as the exam board call it, transactional writing. Transactional writing will include things like writing letters, blogs, reviews, etc. Anything that you might expect to encounter in your day-to-day life. In order to pass English language, you also have to have completed something called spoken language endorsement. Essentially, this is a short presentation where you show both your interest in a subject, but also are able to show your ability to present and communicate verbally in front of an audience. Now, for our topic at Wilmington Grammar School for Boys, we choose to focus on the film of the book, which is essentially a chance for you to choose a book that you particularly like that has an adaptation, and for you to present a dynamic review of both the text and the film at the same time, while also showing your ability to present to and engage an audience. It's only about 8 minutes long, followed by a few questions, but for the most part I feel like most students find this activity to be very enriching, and it's also something that's very useful to learn for the future, particularly when it comes to interviews, whether that's for getting into your sixth form or even jobs in what seems like the far future. As I said on the first slide, English literature is slightly different from English language in that it mostly focuses on the reading and analysis of 4 specific literature texts. Those 4 texts are spread across 2 exams, which once again are all completed at the end of the course. We have paper 1, which is a Shakespeare text. In this case, we do Macbeth. One post-1914 text, which is The Excellent and in Spectacles by J.B. Priestley. And then paper 2 is a 19th century or Victorian novel. In this case, it's The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and one collection of poetry where we look at the poetry based around the theme of conflict. Although the weighting of the papers is equal, so 50% for each one, paper 2 is actually longer than paper 1, as you'll see, with it being 2 hours and 15 minutes rather than 1 hour and 45. Which career opportunities are made available with English? Well, before I get into specifics, it's important to remember that almost every career that you can potentially pursue will be reliant on having a sound control of English language. Okay, you're going to need to be able to write and express yourself in a coherent and professional manner. Now, if we're being a little bit more specific, there are certain careers that you will be more likely to pursue if you have a degree in English, and some of those include jobs in publishing, journalism, writing, web content manager, an advertising copywriter, and of course the best of all of those jobs, you could of course be an English teacher. And beyond these specialist jobs, it's also worth remembering having an excellent control of English will give you a huge help or a huge amount of assistance when you are applying for jobs and going through the process of writing interview letters and presenting yourself in front of an interview panel.